So I believe we can kick off this webinar. My colleague Philippe is going to keep accepting people as they come along and join us. So I have a small presentation prepared for those that did not attend the first webinar. Give me a moment. Everyone can see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So for those that did not attend the first webinar, welcome everyone to this innovation and entrepreneurship webinar related with the... I will mute. Yeah. Welcome everyone, as I was saying, so these webinars are within the scope of the transnational working groups of the Agri-Food for Future project. So today we will talk about the investment landscape in Europe. And as I've told you, I'm Nuno. I'm gonna do a short presentation of the Agri-Food for Future project, and now you can participate in it. If you were not here on the first webinar, you'll learn about the program today. And then we will have two very interesting talks from Isabel Faria, which is gonna talk about the investment landscape in Europe from a perspective of Portugal, and Bertrand, which is going to talk the same topic of the investment landscape in Europe, but in this case from the point of view of France. So the Agri-Food for Future project, we will start from this small presentation. So it's a consortium of 23 partners that has the mission to support the transformation of the agri-food sector towards digitalization, decarbonization, and sustainability. So the Agri-Food for Future project is committed to create a permanent link and collaboration between the education and labor market to empower farmers and operators in the agri-food sector in the fields of smart farming and sustainable food systems, to stimulate the exchange of educational and professional practices throughout Europe, and also to support new entrepreneurs through business incubation and innovation. It is also one of its purposes to promote green agriculture and improving the health of soils, and to develop technical supports for SMEs and farmers that want to get into decarbonization and digitalization of their farms, while also developing a skills ecosystem that means to attract and fully use the investments that are available. So the Agri-Food for Future project is focused on 4 different focus areas: alternative ingredients, digitalization of the food supply chain, circular food systems, and green agri-tech and sustainability. Within these big topics, there is a small topics that it's focused, for example, protein diversification, smart farming, algae biorefinery, among many others. So the role of BGI within the Agri-Food for Future project is correlated with the innovation and entrepreneurship. So we have 2 very interesting programs. The first one that we have already ran is the Entrepreneurship and Acceleration program, which I believe we have some participants here today that are participating in this program. And the objective is to capacitate young entrepreneurs and accelerate the growth of their solutions. So this program is directed to early stage startups, teams of master and PhD students that are developing a solution in the agri-food sector. So as I've told you, we have already did a first edition, and we are now kicking off the second edition of this program. So this will be performed throughout 2025. We have started now scouting for this program, and here are the different stages that the program consists of. But the most important ones is 3 different phases, which the program is divided, which is a capacity building part, where the teams will develop some entrepreneurs do's and don'ts, investment readiness, business model canvas, intellectual property, among others. And then a period of acceleration, which will consist of 8 weeks for the development of a go-to-market plan that will be performed with the help of a mentor, a business mentor, and 2 additional weeks where the teams will be able to pitch. They will be able to perform their pitch also with the help of the mentor, which will then be presented in a demo day in person where there will be a jury which will evaluate the teams, and the winning teams will have further mentorship hours and also accessibility to incubation programs of the partners, and of course to network with all of the 23 consortium members. So this is a more early stage program, but if you are in a more late stage with your venture, we also have an open innovation and challenge-based program. So this is our second program that we are running within the Agri-Food for Future. So the company here, the main goals is that companies and organizations will invite external parties, such as startups, to propose to solve some challenges that these companies have. So these organizations will take advantage of the creativity and knowledge of the startups in order to, which can lead to the development and integration of new products and technology. So this is basically a piloting program that aims to create the opportunity for organizations to test on a small scale before investing in a wide adoption, and for the startups that will be able to get feedback about their technology or innovation that they are developing. So as I've told you, this program is directed to corporate and SMEs, which we call the challenge owners. So if you have any challenge that you want to be solved or tackled, you can be a challenge owner. And is directed to the startups, which are the solution providers, which have developed technology, services, or products that can be the solution for the challenges of the corporates. Here is the timeline from this program. So it's a much bigger timeline. It's from 2024 to 2026. This was made this way to accommodate the piloting phase, because depending on the technology that the startup would be developing, the piloting can vary greatly from one startup to another startup in terms of these aspects. It will also be divided in 3 different stages. First, the capacity building phase, where some topics, for example, related with how to nurture a relationship between a startup and a corporate, the importance of market validation, the risk management and compliance, how to pilot development and validate the tests, and also success cases. And then the period of pilot implementation, where both the startup and the SME or corporate will work together to define a piloting plan that should include the goals of the pilot, the estimated testing of the time that will take, and the resources to be mobilized, and the support that they may need to do this phase. And of course, in the end, a demo day where everyone could present their work and have the opportunity to engage with the consortium partners and network with Agri-Food for Future and present this to a more broadened audience and stakeholders of interest. So if you are not developing any solution in this field, so you think that these projects are not for you, there is 2 different networks that the Agri-Food for Future project is developing, which you can be part of, which is the Center of Vocational Excellence. These are national networks, but I'm going to shortly explain you, and the Transnational Working Group, which is an international network. So the Centers of Vocational Excellence, short COVs, are networks that are being established in Italy, Spain, France, Portugal, Greece, and Belgium. So if you are a national from this, or you have any venture in these countries, you can be part of your specific COV. And the objective of this network is to identify, design, and implement vocational education throughout Europe, to reinforce the cooperation in a knowledge triangle, and create support for entrepreneurs and businesses that are working in smart farming and sustainable food chain, to integrate expertise and knowledge in the field of agri-food, and of course to inform and promote what is going on in the field of agri-food. Among the many strategic objectives of COVs, here I show you some of them. For example, to offer professional education of excellence, to identify business opportunities and platforms, to share research findings with the industry, to develop updated training programs, and one more example, to analyze the skill gaps that occur among the agri-food professionals. Here I show you an example of the COVs, of how the COVs are divided. This is the case of Portugal COV. So Portugal COV is focused on smart farming, sustainable farming, bioeconomy, and innovation and entrepreneurship. And the founding members are Green Porto, which is working on education and investigation. and ISQ, which is working on professional training, and Food for Sustainability, which is working on knowledge and technology transfer. And of course, BGI is focused on innovation and entrepreneurship. So if you are a farmer or an advisor, or you work for any agri-food industry or association or corporation, you can be part of the Portugal Cove, and I'm more than available to answer any question that you may have on how you can be part of it. So now the international network. So this is a community of experts that work on the topics related with agri-food for future projects. So those 4 focus areas that I've explained you in the beginning of the presentation. So the objectives is to explore and develop novel ideas and sustainable solutions for challenges in the agri-food, in the agriculture and food sector, and to promote knowledge exchange, collaboration among professionals, and network within each specialized community. So these groups are not divided by country, are divided by topic. For example, the working group 1 is focused on digital agriculture and is led by Arvalich. The working group 2 is focused on green agri-tech and is led by Inagro. And the working group 3 is related with biocircularity and is led by Elmo. Finally, the innovation and entrepreneurship working group, which is led by BGI. So if you are an expert in any of these fields and you think that you want to be part of this network and collaborate with us, you can reach out to us and we can discuss further how these working groups work and how you can take advantage of them. So this concludes the presentation of the Agri-Food for Future project. If you have any question, please let me know, or you can contact my colleague Soraya Caetano. We will send you this presentation after this webinar. So if you have any doubt, please just reach out to us. So now moving forward to the webinar of investment landscape in Europe. So as I've told you, we'll have 2 very interesting talks. One by Isabel Faria, which is going to talk about the investment landscape in Europe, Portugal. And Isabel Faria is a distinguished leader with a vast experience in finance, management, and entrepreneurship. And Isabel serves as the managing director at Core Angels, where she focuses on investing in pioneering startups. So Isabel is also a dedicated mentor and jury member for initiatives like EIT Food, supporting the growth of the next generation of entrepreneurs. Thank you, Isabel, for being with us. I believe you are in the audience.
Yes.
Hi, Isabel.
Good morning.
Good
Hi.
morning. And then we will have another talk by Bertrand Distinguin, which is going to give a perspective of France. So Bertrand is the president of Go Capital, a leading venture capital firm that supports innovative and sustainable projects, including the blue economy through the Impact Ocean Capital Fund, sorry. With over 20 years of experience in investment and landscape, Bertrand has an extensive experience for driving impactful ventures and fostering sustainable growth. Thank you, Bertrand, for being here with us. I hope that I introduced both of you well, and I did not say anything incorrectly. If I did, please feel free to point it out. And the floor is yours, Isabel. I believe you can present.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me try and share.
I have to stop mine.
Yeah.
Done.
Let me see if it is gonna work well, hopefully. Share, okay. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. Good. So I'm going to talk a bit about angel investing and group angel investing and how we are doing it from Core Angel's side, and also specify a bit on the focus we have in terms of agri-food. So thanks very much for the invitation. First of all, good morning to everyone. Just a bit on myself and a bit of correction because I've been managing director, yes, for a long time now. I'm managing the fund for agri-food in Core Angels, but it's specifically the fund for food. I'm also angel investor in Core Angels Lisbon, and I've run the post-investment group for the last 2 years. I've been also been mentoring startups with the EIT Food Seed Bet program for the last 2 years. and I'm part of the network of Startup Lisboa here in Portugal, ProVeg, and Thrive by SGV Ventures. So I've been over 20 years in the agri-food industry, almost 15 of those in Cargill and Provimi. Before that, with roles internationally in commercial finance. So this spans. I also developed my own business in olive oil, and ran a dehydrated products, lyophilized products in the food industry. So this is a bit of my, in a nutshell, not to overwhelm you with too much information, but just to give you a bit of a background. Let me just start with a short intro. I always like to just contextualize how agri-food has been across Europe. I took some graphs from a source I like very much, from Digital Food Lab. They have great analysis on Europe if you're interested in also knowing more about the investment landscape. And just in a nutshell, to understand a bit how it works for Europe, Europe is still the third largest pool in terms of investment for agri-food. Although America remains, of course, North America as the largest one, and Asia as the second one. And there are some interesting pools of development in Asia, especially China and Singapore. But of course, there's specificity still a bit in terms of the investments in the different regions. But we can very much say that nowadays we tend to see a globalization in terms of cross investment across different geographies. So this is interesting to see. And if you see in terms of Europe and the pool of Europe, we look at we still see food as you can see there, it's the fifth largest investment pool. So it's interesting to see. Also, this was posted by Nordics Angel and Boston Consulting Group. So it's still interesting to see in terms of investment from angels. So it's important to see there is still an interesting investment quota for food. Okay, just a bit of contextualization on what is the angel investing, and before we dive into core angels, and just to give you a bit of context to how we operate normally. So right now we continue to see a rise in terms of angel groups investing in different areas, and this is a bit different from what could be individual angel investors. So the way that we gather together as a group is to be able to share expertise, somehow mitigate the risk of the investment. So we tend to organize, how we organize is in groups. A group that is comprised of individual angel investors who have different expertises. This expertise allows us also to share among ourselves, to enable that with the startups we work with. We do group investing, meaning that we invest in a portfolio of startups. So we normally have a portfolio of startups that where we can then also provide to our group of investors somehow a risk mitigation, risk reduction. One of the other important aspects of this group investing, networking and collaboration, we tend to promote this a lot, not only between investors, but also between investors and startups. And we tend to extend to also allow a lot of connections and collaborations. In terms of operational efficiency, it becomes easier for us than if we would just do individual investments as angel investors. So we can simplify, centralize a lot of the tasks. We save a lot of time for our investors. Even in terms of the contracts and negotiations that we do, it's much easier process, much smoother, and it adds a lot of gains in terms of efficiency. And it allows us also to each of us individually will have access to larger deals, of course, because we participate in a portfolio of startups. So this is just to bring a bit of context to what it is angel investment as a group. let's dive into a bit the example of Core Angels. So Core Angels, what it is? We are basically an international network of angels that operates internationally, and we have different angel funds. So we might have angel funds, geographic, verticals, and even cross-border funds. And these groups work with a pool of investors that get together and that invest in a group of startups with a certain thesis and criteria. Again, what this allows us as a group, and as in sequence of the previous slide, is that we are able to really have a full angel investing experience. We can play an important role in the early stages of the startups. And we can also address the challenges together in a different way. So maximizing also what we can support with the startups, reducing the risk that we have as an exposure. So this is just the overall concept of Core Angels. How does it work? It's because what we bring also to the startups and to the investors as a whole. So investors get together and are able to contribute more effectively to startups. We operate in a global environment. So we'll share in the next slide what is our international exposure. We provide also a possibility of developments within the network, and we operate under this risk managed environment so that we are able to basically support the startups in a diversified way. So if we look at Core Angels nowadays, what we are, where we are present. So Core Angels basically operates worldwide now, and new groups are being built. We don't have the food yet here, but we are already operational. So we need to update the slide also. So we have funds that are geographically focused, so that are agnostic, like the ones that are in specific cities or regions. And we have the groups that are more focused on a specific vertical, like climate, like food one that we have now, like enterprise tech, so big data and AI. So those are specific to invest in a specific sector or a subsector. Okay, the presence is worldwide. We are around 300 angels nowadays, organized in these different groups. We've invested in more than 100 startups. So the network of that this allows us also international, allows us to basically also benefit the startups that are invested by us, where we can access different knowledge and expertise worldwide. And provide that also to the startups that are invested by us. So how does it work in terms of the investment process? Just to give you a bit of idea how we work in terms of investment process and how we participate as angels, so that you get a bit of understanding how it works also for the startups. So the selection process that we work, our way of working is that we have basically we do a screening of startups that go to an investment committee every 2 or 3 months, where we are looking at with our group of investors to 3 to 5 investment opportunities. These 3 to 5 investment opportunities are screened, let's say, from 30 to 50 startups that we are looking at, and we are looking at a curated deal flow. And I'll explain that specifically for food, how it works. But basically, we look at investment opportunities more widely, then we filter down to 3 to 5 every 2 or 3 months. We bring it to our investment committee, where the investors where they will pitch to the investors, and then we go through a whole process of group voting, where we determine as a group if you want to invest in specific startups that have pitched on that investment committee. And we proceed with the normal due diligence process, to formalize the investment. So, basically in terms of how we have the fund organized, in terms of angels participation, we have basically a very straightforward participation from the angels, where they have equal voting rights, where they can contribute to the startups. We have a governance that allows a high involvement of the angel investors, and where we promote this very actively between investors and startups. So giving you a bit of an example on how it works for the foods. Right now, what we have developed, and we have completed our third investment committee very recently, just this month still. So basically what we do and how we define, we have an investment criteria where we are angel investors that invest in pre-seed and seed stages. So we invest in the first stages, very first stage of this, where startups start to look for external investment. So that means that we enter also in a phase where we can support the startups to the next stages of investment, and where we can give a lot more mentoring and strategic guidance. So this is the role also of the angel investors, and where we can contribute more to the startups. So this fund that we have is a European focused fund, where we focus on agri-foods, and where we have a certain investment criteria that basically serve as our criteria, where we select the startups, and where we can then filter them down to the ones that will be invested. Normally, these investment criteria we use as the rules for to get the startups, let's say, selected. And this is also done a lot with based on a curated deal flow. What do we mean by curated deal flow? It means that we are, and because also the involvement that we have in the network, the agri-foods ecosystem, we also try to get already startups that have participated already in some programs, that have been gone through some market validation and technology validation. So this we have a minimum of criteria that we look for, and that have also a minimum of technology level, readiness level that we want to. And we have those criteria in terms of scalability, capex involvement, no solo founders, some specific criteria that we do need to meet to have eligibility for investments from our group of investors. And then in terms of sector focus, of course, this can vary a bit throughout time, but the major focus, the core focus that we have, is in up and midstream technology, up and midstream value chain. But then we might also invest in specific technologies if we see interesting opportunities. But we are more focused on up and midstream rather than downstream at this moment. In terms of governance, how does it work? Just to give a general overview, basically we have a governance which allows us a very clear structure to how we operate. What would be the roles of the angels? So roles can have a strong involvement also in the pre-selection of the startups. They can mentor, they vote on the investment committees, and they participate also on the post-investment board. So one strong and differentiating characteristic that we have as a governance is that we operate with different boards. So we have what we call, well, the advisory board, of course, that rules how we operate in terms of strategic governance and strategic direction of the group. But then we have 3 other boards that help us in the process of making this work in a very structured way. So the startup selection, we involve a group of angels in the selection. So this is always done across. So and this is the example for Lisbon, but in foods, we have the same structure. And basically, the idea is that we are able to bring also angel investors that have already the expertise in the different subsectors of the industry, and that can help us better select also the startups. Then we have the what we call the involvement board. So after we go through the selection process, we bring the startups to the investment committee. We vote in the startups that we want to invest. After that, they would, as soon as they are entering the portfolio of investment, basically we put them into what we call the involvement board. And that means that we have what we call the specific role of the archangel, where we can assign a specific angel to that startup to mentor and help in the strategic guidance. And we, together with that archangel, becomes the specific support for that startup, giving mentorship, giving that strategic guidance and helping them in their growth. And then every 2 or 3 months again, we gather as an involvement board, and the archangels, together with the leader of the board, we discuss an update on where the startups stand up as a whole, what else we can do to support them, any networking that we need to provide additionally, any contacts. So this is quite a strong differentiator, where we can do this and get the right support and guidance to the startups. And then we still have the final board, where we talk, where we discuss the moment to exit as angel investors. As you know, there is the investment journey, and so we enter very early, but we also live at a point where so we have pre-seeds, we co-invest in seeds, but then in the Series A, we are already looking for potential to exit from our side, where larger investors come into the cap table. So in that board, we specifically look at exits and valuation from that standpoint. So in terms of governance, this is how it works in terms of the boards. We have, of course, normally the groups are comprised of 2 or 3 leaders that take care of the management of the funds, and that are contact points also for the central things and legal matters, normally, where we organize and represent core angels. And basically then the rest is the normal structure with a board of general assembly. Okay, I think that this is it for what I have. Maybe I did it a bit shorter. And I don't know, but these are my contacts. Happy to connect on LinkedIn for anyone who's interested. And if you have any questions, I can talk a bit more about Core Angels Food or Lisbon as an agnostic group, whatever you prefer. We do have food investments across the board. So meaning that different agnostic groups can also have food investments. So the Lisbon Fund, we have 2 investments actually in foods. We have 1 investment in alternative ingredients to sugar that was performed in 2023. That was just reinforced. Food, we are starting now with potential investments in alternative ingredients and packaging alternatives. And we also had the other one in Lisbon for the food data and how that can be made available to the value chain, players in the value chain. So I'm going to stop for a bit now, see if there's any questions, and thank you also.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Isabel. Thank you. So is there any question from the audience? Don't be shy. If not, I will ask 1 or 2 questions, but I would rather not.
I have 1 question, yes. Bertrand speaking. Thank you for your explanation, Isabel. I just have one question. What is the ticket size you invest as an average with Core Angel?
Between 50 and 200K.
Okay.
And average would be 100 normally. The most common would be 100K per startup.
Okay, thank you. And you said you plan to do some exit at the Series A. Do you succeed in that strategy? I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean,
difficult to exit at this time normally.
Well, the Core Angels as a group, it's still, we started in 2019, so the group is normally we do investments throughout the 5 first years. So the groups are in different stages at this moment, and we don't have a lot of exit examples so far internationally. The idea is that we will try, normally we have been trying to make this earlier and earlier. We would first think about 7 to 8 years of investment, but now we are trying to bring this more into a Series A or M&A process. So this is what we are trying to do. We have an example in Brazil, but that's the cross-border group, and that's not specific to food yet. But the idea is that we want to have that, or through secondary markets to do that exit whenever it's possible, reaching that Series A. Okay.
Thank you.
Any further question? No? If not, I will ask 2 questions from a point of view of a startup. So if I want to be a startup, how can I approach you? How can I approach Core Angels?
Well, you can approach me on my LinkedIn. I can put it also in the chat or send me an email. Normally that's how startups approach for food specifically, because I'm running the food group. Also for the other startups, I'm also approachable by LinkedIn. I normally accept the link, so it's rare the case where I'm not accepting. And the opportunity, if there's a fit to the investment criteria, normally I would better to send a short note what is the project all about. If there is a minimum fit, I would reply and ask for a pitch deck and try to set up a call. But again, it's many startups approaching, as you know. Not always easy to provide the feedback as quickly as possible. The other thing is that we organize the investment committees every 2 or 3 months. So once I've completed an investment committee, I still have to we have to follow up on the investment committee on only a month and a half before. Sometimes we are starting to prepare the next one. So I might not reply immediately after, but I will have to wait until we are ready to start screening for the next investment committee.
And that leads to a follow-up question. That is, what do you want to see from this first contact? So how do you select a first contact with you to be good or not good, or to have potential or not potential? Do you?
Okay. So normally we know one thing, because I also do the mentoring of the startups. We talk a lot about this. Traction is very key. So some market validation, the uniqueness of the technology, how it's protected. Some items are important to highlight. What is the track record in terms of, if they have already participated and also in some of these programs. Anything that shows traction, that shows capability of execution and achieving and reaching important milestones. Specifically, if you get important milestones would be, did I already validate this with a potential set of customers? Did I get some sort of soft commitments from them? How I've been able to prove my uniqueness in the technology, or how differentiated it is. If you have filed already for a patent or not, things like this. If you have participated in any specific events that showcase also that you have already been through a testing and validation process before. All these things that you can highlight, and that's all I need you to highlight in the email, in the message or the email. It doesn't have to be a lot of information because nobody has a lot of time to assess. But just to understand, and normally, of course, I'm looking, if I'm contacted for a Series A investment or a too high valuation, I forget it, because there has to be a clear distinction because we can invest in pre-seed and seed. Our tickets are small. We need to enter that initial phase of the startups and not later on. So that's basically how we do it.
Okay. I got also a question, but it's more of curiosity. It's within the different fields of the agri-food, where do you see the booming of startups coming? Is alternative proteins, is algae, biorefinery, it's all over? Do you see any specific that it's trending?
There's a lot of this goes by trends, right?
Yeah.
Alternative proteins had a golden period. Now they have been struggling this past year more with investment, but there are still opportunities there. I mentor in the EIT seedbed program, alternative proteins, and I see the struggle on getting investment. But there's some areas, of course, nowadays are capturing more the attention, or being are more attractive to investors. All the packaging and alternative packaging. There's a lot of startups in this space. The investors that I'm working with are still very much looking into that specific space. When we talk about this blue economy and the impact in food, because nowadays blue economy is big, big two buzzwords. But there are a lot of startups that are also going into those specific programs and those specific scope of the blue economy. So everything that impacts food from blue economy is also very much trendy nowadays. AgTech specific solutions for farming, robotics. I see still a lot of interesting startups in that space, and I see interest from investors. What else? Alternative ingredients, I still continue to see as a very interesting space for food companies also, as a potential for them. There are a lot of millions involved there that the food companies can benefit from, innovative ideas from startups. Alternative proteins, I think they are going through a less attractive investment phase for investments, but I think still there are very good opportunities and that can be assessed. So we have not excluded them, but we are of course maybe giving priority to other trends. But again, there is a very interesting slide, if I just may share. Let me see if I have it quickly here. I shared in another presentation. I can just very quickly, because we did also something on this specific space. Let me try and share it quickly, just to show you a bit. Let me know if you can see it. I took from Digital Food Lab this one also. I like it. Let me see if you can see it.
Yes, we can.
If you're curious, go into their website and see. This gives a bit what they published in their report is 2024. Of course, other investors and others people can have different view on this. They talk a bit what is far ahead in the future trends. So if you look at the left side of the graph in terms of expectations, what is going through an excitement phase, what has gone through a bit of the dissolution, and you see that plant-based alternatives falling there, cooking robots, Q-commerce. So this goes through all the supply chain, all the value chain, and gives you a bit of an idea what are these different, where they are in these different trends, rising stars, and what are really more disruptive. precision farming also coming there. So this is interesting to see more or less where the attractiveness could be at this point. It's very subjective. I'm sometimes a bit cautious on the trends because what we are looking from an angel investing perspective, we are looking for good entrepreneurs with great startups that really can stand out. I think this is for us the most important. Continues to be the people behind the projects, the team, what they bring, and what is the ability of the entrepreneur to execute it and to make it happen. Because if it has that ability, it can make a startup succeed. And if not that startup, the next startup will be more successful. But it's a lot about the team at this moment for us, because of course we can have some traction in terms of market validation. We can have some clarity in terms of the technology differentiation, but numbers, it is what it is. It's not worth much at the beginning, because you can put anything there. We really need to understand who's behind the project, the ability to execute, and then what it brings and what has it been able to execute at this point. But again, if you're looking for trends, I would go through this Digital Food Lab or others. I mean, there's other sources. There's Ag Funder. There's other sources. BCG also produces some very interesting reports, Boston Consulting. So if you're looking for trends to see that, this is where you can look for.
Thank you, Isabel. Very interesting answer.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'm going to give just one more opportunity for any question in the audience. If there is none, we will move with Bertrand.
Feel free to reach out for me. I can try and share here the chat, the LinkedIn again. Okay.
Okay.
And feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
So thank you.
Thank you very much for the invite again.
Thank you for your talking being with us. You are invited to remain here if you want to see the Bertrand presentation. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you also to Bertrand. So the floor is yours. I think you can present.
Yes, thank you. So let me share a few slides. Yeah. Where is it? I think. Is it okay for you?
Yes, you just need to put it on presentation.
Yeah, full screen.
Yeah.
But why it doesn't work on full screen? No. Is that okay? No.
We see the full window of the PowerPoint.
That's okay?
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Good. So thank you. Well, so I'm very glad to present you Go Capital and.
You're muted, Bertrand. We cannot hear.
Sorry?
You. Now we can.
Sorry, you can hear me?
Now we can. Now I can. Yeah.
Okay, sorry for that. So I just wanted to present it myself. So I'm Bertrand Distinguin. I'm the managing director, president actually of Go Capital, which is an investment fund. The sound is okay. Sorry, yeah, it's okay. Okay, good.
Yes.
So
yes,
so we've been working in the investment on the last 21 years. So we've been created in 2003. Personally, I'm not a specialist of the agri-food sector. I'm an electrical engineer. I've been working in Asia for more than 10 years, and in the US also. And after I just went in the investment field, and on the last 10 years, I'm managing Go Capital. So just to introduce ourselves, sorry, that's in French, but basically we are an independent investment company based in Bretagne, northwest of France, and we invest. We are quite generalist as an investor. but we invest mainly in deep tech and in early stage companies. So when I said early stage, I mean seed, pre-seed, seed, Series A, time to time Series B, but mainly seed and Series A. We invest in all the tech fields. I mean, it goes from from health to digital to clean tech to the industry and of course agri-food. We have a little bit less than 400 million euros under management. We talk about AUM, asset under management. And we have in our portfolio, actually, it's nearly 150 companies in our portfolio so far. So we invest, we take minority stakes in startups, and we plan to stay in the company from 3 to 10 years, depending on the level of maturity of the companies. We are close to 30% in Go Capital, and we are based I'm personally in Rennes, northwest of France, but we have also offices in Paris, in Marseille, in Bordeaux. And soon we'll have an office in Barcelona. Just to recap the types of funds we are managing. We have 3 types of funds at Go Capital. The historical ones are what we call Fonds de Développement Territorial. It means we are investing mainly in northwest of France, in seed and pre-seed, and we have several funds that have different targets and ticket size to invest. And that's our current and historical investment strategy. We have also in the middle what we call Fonds Impact Article 9, which means this is an important criteria for us. That means that those funds needs to invest in companies that are driven by impact on the decarbonation, on the sustainability, and that should reply to some ODD. And that's something we aim to develop so far at Go Capital. And so we have 2 funds in that thematics. We have one first fund is in the blue economy. I mean, blue economy, I'm talking about ocean, Impact Ocean Capital, which is a fund that is not 54 million, it's 60 million. And we are raising a new fund that will start in next month, I hope. That will be a fund dedicated to the water sector, water stress, water leakage, water data visualization, so that will impact mainly the food sector, also the industrial sector, but the food sector will be impacted by this fund. And the third one, I won't talk too much, is a fund of delegation gestion. It's something we manage for third accounts. It means for some banks, we manage for them some funds that we can do some co-investments, some investment for small tickets. Basically, it depends on the types of the strategy of each fund, but our tickets of investments are between 500k euro up to 5 million euro. The sweet spot is about 2 to 3 million euros we invest by company. When we invest in a startup, we do not put the full amount at the first step. We invest step by step. So even if we know that we're going to invest like 4 or 5 million in that company, we first invest maybe 500k or 1 million euro in that company, and we are ready to be able to follow the next round, next funding rounds that will be taken, that will occur in the company's life. That's a key criteria for us. I won't go over all the logos, and a lot of are missing, I'm sure, but that's types of company we invest in. So you can see different types of companies from robotics, from digital, from biotech, from I don't know, industry, and that's types of company we're investing in. Here are whether the LPs, sorry, here are the co-investors that are investing with us mainly. So we have basically we invest we co-invest with some, we can invest alone but we also invest with co-investors that are coming from whether international funds, but mainly French funds. And it could be from industrial, from venture, from corporates, from banks, and or dedicated investors in some fields, especially in health. You can see Andera, Turen, and Capagro is an investor in the food industry also. Here I just selected, just try to see in our portfolio, knowing I was going to present that to you today, types of company we invested in with our funds. I won't go through all of them, but just to say that there are some companies doing some, like iSprit, doing some smart farming robots for de-leafing, for taking, for try to picking up the tomatoes or strawberries. We invested in Abyss Ingredient, which is doing natural marine ingredients with some. I've seen before the healthy aging process. So it's something with some dedicated target efficiency on some types of problem of sorry, I can't remember what it was for healthy investment. We also invested in Alinova, which is doing some ingredients for the animal feed. And also companies like Green Impulse or Agroxin, which are doing biostimulant or biocontrol solutions. And one of our recent investment, I heard about that before, it's Lactips which is in the food safe natural polymers. So it's something that alternative packaging, I would say. It means using some casein coming from the milk, and just to be able to replace some polymer to make some packaging. So that types of companies we're investing in, and you will see there's a lot of soft companies doing some using some seaweed or some algae like AlgoSource, AlgoLesco, AlgoPaint. All those companies are using are developing solutions coming from the sea, from the seaweed, or coming from the algae. AlgoSource, for example, is extracting the phycocyanin from the algae. That's basically the types. And also we invest in companies doing some special types of distributions in related to the food. So it's not an innovation on the ingredients or on the farming, just on innovation on the way to distribute the food to the consumer. I just took this slide, which is, I think, coming from Agri for Future. This is your slide, but I just try to emphasize. Actually, I do agree with this trends. I think your target, if I'm right, is for the Agri for Future is to you have main drivers that is going to change in industry. And I found that your item were very well selected. And actually, if I look at the way we invest in companies, I think we look at these four. That's main drivers for us in the types of investment we're doing. So I'm talking about digital transition, which concerns many sectors, but actually is how to increase efficiency and productivity. I think that's a key point for us to address. The green transition, decarbonization and climate, energy smart culture, agriculture. That's also something very key, and not only for Go Capital, but for, I think, for nearly all the investors in at least in France and I guess in Europe, because of this Article 9 I was talking before. I will come back on that. Resilience and sustainable food system. That's also a key driver for us. And of course, business sustainability. It means we need to make sure that the business will be sustainable over the time. So it's not only words, it's key criteria for us to invest. And I would add at least one point on that, which is a regulation. It could come back, I mean, in terms of key factor to I would say, on which you could be concerned if you want to create your company or to create a startup or to address your memo to an investor. It's just making sure that also the regulation will be with you, because regulation is a major risk for you and for the investors. I mean, and that's a key driver also for us to look at when we look at a new project. And just to mention for us, what are the key factors to invest? I mean, okay, I will comment those points. First is a team. I think Isabelle said that before. But the team is for me, it's obvious. First I didn't mention it, but the team is a key element for us to invest. So you managers have to be able to listen, to be humble, I mean, they need a lot of soft skills that has to be addressed by the entrepreneur, and that maybe it's common to all projects, but the team is the key issue for us. But beside the team, what we'll look at will be the level of fund required. And I put the word of frugality, which means the way you use the cash and the amount of cash you're going to use. That's very important. I mean, I see several projects where people said, okay, I need 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, 20 millions. And I see people that, okay, they believe, or managers, founders, they believe that the key to success is to raise a lot of funds. I think the key to success is not to raise a lot of funds. The key to success is to make a business that's going to have some customers and to give some qualities and to get some cash back. But it's not to raise amount which is the key of success. We've seen a lot of companies raising thousands, millions, and millions of funds, but that could not success. And even when you raise too much money, it's also a factor of risk that you have too much money, you want to spend it, you want to show the investor that you're going to use it, and then you do wrong things. So I think for us, what we look at is first is a team, I would say, cautious on the types, on the fund needs and the ways they will use their fund. So that's for us very important. Second point, which is also obvious, but I just want to emphasize, is time to market, and probably it's linked to regulation. Time to market is a key issue. I think I've done dozens of investments personally, and when I also failed several times, and when we miss something, is most of the time is time to market. We got a good idea, we got a new products, new trends, but the market is not there. The market will be there in 5 years, 10 years, and most of the time we always say that, okay, the market is here, but the market is much longer than we think. So that's something we try to understand. We try to analyze. We keep on doing mistake on that, but I think for you that's a key point to address, and making sure that the time to market is well addressed. After, I think it's return on investment is a key point. I mean, it's not expectation that we can get when we invest. So after I just said ×5 targeted. I mean, when we invest, just to have it in mind, for example, when we invest in at the pre-seed or seed stage, we know we won't make it for all our investment, but our target when we invest is to do about ×5 our investment over a period of time that will be from 5 to 10 years. When we invest at Series A or more, maybe our return on investment is a little bit lower expectation. I mean, the risk is lower, but the return is also lower. So personally, we expect to do something like ×3 or more. So when we have a project coming in, what we analyze is first, how much money does the company needs? How much equity will it need? I mean, do you have some non-dilutive also investment or not? So we look at not only at the first round, okay, we need 1 million euros and we take, I don't know, 20% of the companies. That's not only the calculation we make. We just try to make the company's life and say, okay, we're going to raise this time maybe 1 million euros. Maybe the next round will be 5 million euros. Maybe the next round might be, I don't know, another round of 5 million euros, 10 million euros. Then the amount of cash required to develop the company is also something that we take into account. So I could just come back to the first point, which is the level of fund required. So it means return on investment is something we try to calculate and estimate on a cautious plan. I mean, we want to make sure that it's not only an Excel sheet saying, okay, I'm going to raise and to make times to multiply by 3 every year my turnover, my revenue, and then I'll be a unicorn and so on. So we just try to be floor on the grounds and try to calculate how much we can make. So that's something we also analyze internally, and that also has a link with the valuation of the company. We can come back on valuation later. And there are many factors. I just emphasize some point, and the impact factors is also something we take into account right now. It means when I said Article 9 before, it means that the team is incentivate on the financial performance they will do, and also on the impact that the portfolio will do. So it means when you invest in a company, you might know that the funds are incentivate on the performance, on the financial performance they'll get, and also on the impact they will have on their portfolio. That's a new criteria. And for example, on our funds that are on the ocean or the next fund on the water, our performance and our incentive for the team will be directly linked to the impact that the company and the startup will have during the time we are investing in. So that's criteria that we will analyze. And after, of course, there's all the others criteria that which is innovation, which is IP, which is potential margins, and so on. But basically, those 4 items are the one we look at as an investor. I'm not sure about the time. Okay, that's basically what I wanted to mention here. I have some other slides if necessary, but these are some questions I'll be happy to try to reply.
Thank you, Bertrand. Thank you so much for your talk. So now to the audience, is there any question? You can write it if you are shy to talk.
Can I?
Yes,
hello.
Marcelo, go for it.
Thank you, Bertrand, for your presentation. I think basically we could do the same questions that we did before. I know that you prepared the key factors to invest, but still, how can a startupper can get in touch with you, or on what could leverage to let you try to understand better the project, or to pitch to you or to your colleague?
Well, so I don't put my mail and my contact. Maybe I will give you I will put it on the comments, or give you to you. I put it in the comment. Basically, when we analyze a project, just I want to say, as an average, on a yearly basis, we receive about 1,000 projects. globally, all funds. It's not, we could even have more, but and we invest in like less than 2%. When we receive a project, first, there is a lack of, it's received by mail most of the time. Okay, I have a project and I want to invest in. Then there is some like a teaser of the project, and if the teaser looks interesting, then we ask you for, do you have another additional business plan and a little bit deeper information, and then based on that, we just try to see whether we are confident with the thesis, confident with the plan presented, and if regarding the amount that you want to raise, regarding the confidence we have on the sector you plan to address, on the team. Basically, we might have like 1 hour review together just to exchange on the project and see, okay, you explain to us how it goes and so on. And if we believe, we might ask additional questions or informations, but most of the time coming from that, if things are if you're interested, then we'll go further into discussion, having more meeting with you, going deeper in the business case, just making sure we understand the competitors and the market you address, and then same as it was done before by Isabel. We have 2 committees internally. We have one which is a team committee, which is a important one. So it means we are 4. I mean, depending the fund that will invest, it could be different fund, but the fund that will invest will have I would say an investment committee where you will be asked to pitch in front of this committee. So you will have to present it. And based on that, there will be another committee, we call that expert committee, with some people which are external from Go Capital, and then we can go on for investment. So basically, to reply simply to your question, you have to address whether me a mail or whether I can give you some other colleagues' name, but and that's the best way to get into to be in touch.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Follow-up question with this. So those things that you evaluate and see and ask, what are the ones that startups struggle the most and you see that they could focus on more? Is the business plan, is the how they go to market, is the financials? Where do you see that they are more behind?
I think I think the key point is to be realistic. For me, I could have pointed that in the key factor. I mean, when someone comes to see us and say, okay, I'm going to do this business case, and when the figures are not realistic, I think we most of the time we drop the project, because we say, okay, the management I'm not sure whether you want to emphasize or to present it well, but I think it's worse than saying the realistic point. And so, and when I say realistic, it's also something that if I can give an advice, is it might take times anyway, whether we said we have a committee and so on, but it takes time to raise funds. So you contact us, and then we have to some ongoing exchange and so on. And what I have in my files is most of the time, one of the business plan you gave to us is like the document that you gave to me at one time. And let's say that you're going to say, okay, I'm going to do I don't know, in 2025, I'm going to do like 1 million euro turnover revenue on my business case, on my startup. And you send it to me now, and then we discuss in January, and we discuss again in February. And then in March, we have some, let's say, committee and so on. But in March, I ask you, okay, by the way, what are your KPIs so far? You tell me you're going to do 1 million next year, and what are your KPI? and when it's zero, because then it's create like I'm a little bit doubtful about the fact that you can raise you can achieve your business plan. And I'm not saying only about revenue, but when you said, okay, I've got a contact with this customer, and this customer is going to be my first customer, will test my solution and so on. And when few months after our discussion, this has not started, has not been made, it doesn't mean okay, it could happen and it's normal also. But basically, just be cautious on the figures you plan to do on a short term, because for an investor, maybe I have 3 to 6 months to evaluate your and to make me an idea about the confidence I could have in your plan and projects, and that happens many times, that the people show figures. I'm going to do 10 million this year, and then you ask where you stand. Oh no, that has been postponed to 1 year. I think that's the worst case that could happen. So just be cautious, and better announce some good news. If you plan to do I don't know, I just say 1 million euro revenue, just present 800,000. It's better, and realize 1 million instead of announcing even 3 millions and doing only 1.2 million.
Thank you. I got another question, but it's just more of a curiosity. What was the reason behind you open a water fund? Do you see the startups asking for funds in this area more and more?
Actually, I would say yes and no. Yes, I think so far the startup does not request much. I mean, does not. I mean, I would say I'm not looking for funds, but what we found is that there is a real lack of investors in that field, and we also analyze the market, and there is a huge need on that sector. Huge need is, and why we plan to open because an office in Barcelona is because we also identify that in the Catalonia, there is a real needs also of, I mean, the water economy is going to modify drastically the industry, and also the agricultural sector. So we see several companies trying to address some issues regarding water stress, water leakage. It could be also flooding. Water there's a lot of sectors addressing water. We call that the PFAS coming in the water. So I mean, the sector is huge, and there is no investors, and we have identified some what we call LPs, limited partners, that people who want to invest in that sector, that we are in contact with, and want to address this point. And also the public sectors. I mean, all the in France, the president of the region, the territories, the president of the territories, they want to address this point, because it's a real issue for them. I mean, and so we are very convinced by these thematics, and we have LPs wanted to invest in that, and we identified a lot of companies that also we believe that there will be a lot of companies addressing this point in the coming years. And also it's an issue for the industry, or for the SME or the companies for water treatments. It's a real issue, I think.
Thank you, Bertrand. I will open again questions for the audience, if there is any question. If there is not, I think we can close this webinar of today. Thank you so much, Bertrand and Isabel, for being here with us and talking about Core Angels and Go Capital, and how you perceive the investments and startups, and what are your funds and opportunities. hopefully the participants are also developing some kind of venture and they will reach out to you. Hopefully, let's hope that happens. And we'll be sharing this presentation if Isabel and Bertrand allow us.
Yeah.
So we'll be sending this recording to the participants. And if you need anything, just reach out to me or Isabel or to Bertrand, whatever you need. And I think everyone is glad to help you. So thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance, and we'll be seeing each other on other opportunities.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for a great
you.
webinar.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Muito bem, Nuno.